The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the IIJA, also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, includes $1.2 billion in infrastructure spending, including more than $50 billion to improve the nation's drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure. But for cities and towns and water utilities around the country, accessing those funds can be tricky. Today, I'll be talking with water industry expert Stacy Barna. She helps water and wastewater organizations understand how state and federal funding programs work, and she clears the path to help them secure loan and grant funds quickly and efficiently. Stacy, thank you for being with me today.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate being here.
Now, I know this is a rapidly developing story. There's stuff that we know, and there's things that are still being developed or being revealed. What do we know for sure about how projects will be prioritized and funded under this infrastructure law? And what are the major unknowns?
Okay, great question. So first of all, the funds, the almost $50 billion will be run through the state revolving fund program. So the SRFs are basically state-run programs. So even though it's federal funding, you're going to have 50 different SRF programs that have those funds. And so what we need to look for is how each state SRF will be managing those funds. Now, by and large, they may manage them how they have previously. This is a program they've had since the late 80s for the Clean Water SRF and the late 90s for the Drinking Water SRF. And so we would expect that they will run it very similarly, but because of the new program requirements, there's some new program requirements in there and the larger influx of funds, we expect that they will probably do things a little bit differently. So what we really need to do is now that EPA has put out guidance, so guidance came out on March 8th, the expectation would be the states will go ahead and update their intended use plan. They do an annual intended use plan. It explains to everyone applying for funds exactly how they're going to utilize the funds for that year. And then they will invite in those projects to come in. So essentially, we expect at this point they will be following the guidance from EPA, applying for that CAP grant, updating their intended use plans, and then putting out some sort of a request for a pre-application to municipalities so they can submit their projects based on any of the updated information they receive in that EPA guidance based on the bill. While we do have the guidance out from EPA as of March 8th, it's also important to remember that there will continue to be more guidance coming out as the program progresses. EPA is going to look at things, states are going to have questions, and so we expect that even though we have a good idea of how the funds will flow, we will continue to receive guidance from EPA as the program moves forward. And so we're staying in touch with that. We're keeping on top of it to make sure we're able to advise our clients the best as possible with any new information.
My understanding is that 49% of the funds under the EPA's jurisdiction here will be earmarked for principal forgiveness. Can you talk a little bit about what that means and how that should be considered when applying for funding?
Absolutely. So there's a big initiative with this round of funding through the BIL to have a lot of the funds go towards disadvantaged communities. A lot of this is based on the president's initiative, the Justice 40 initiative, and basically trying to allocate those funds out to the communities that truly need them. And so really what we need to do is look at the overall, there's 3 buckets of funds. I guess I should start with that. There's the traditional SRF fund that'll be receiving money. There is also lead service line funding, so lead money that'll come out. And then third, there's emerging contaminant funds. And so for the traditional SRF and also for the lead money, those will go out as a 49% principal forgiveness. They need to be allocated 49% principal forgiveness or grant. It's whatever the state chooses, or even negative interest rate. But those funds have to go out essentially as free money. And so, and then for the emerging contaminants, those funds will go out 100% as a grant or principal forgiveness. So really the big thing that I think we need to do is when our clients, when the communities are submitting their pre-applications, they need to make sure they're really clear If they're a disadvantaged community, understanding the disadvantaged community definition for their particular state, and also what type of project they have. So if it is a lead project, to make sure it's very clear in the description. If it's emerging contaminants where they feel they should receive 100% forgiveness, they should clarify exactly what that project looks like to put them in the, so they have the best opportunity to receive those funds.
One thing you've taught me is that this IIJA BIL, it's not the only game in town. Isn't it true that depending on the project, there could be other more established lanes to get a project funded?
Absolutely. So just last week, we also had the omnibus, basically the budget for 2022 was finally passed. There are some additional funds in that for this year. You've also got the American Rescue, ARPA, and that includes funding also that's a little bit more timely. That needs to be really obligated by the end of 2024, so we only have a few years to use that. And then we also have IIJA or bill. We have the funds there, which includes SRF, also includes funds to some other agencies. So there are really, this is an unprecedented time for us. There is a lot of infrastructure funding out there through multiple mechanisms. So really this is the time to work with our clients, to be able to pull those projects together. You know, maybe some they've been moving along, maybe some they've been on a shelf, and pull them together so they can get ready to move forward, because there is just a lot of money out there that they will be able to access. You know, ARPA, as I mentioned, the next few years. The bill funds really are over the next 5 years. So we do have a little bit more time to use those. They will have an annual appropriation for the next 5 years for those funds. So there's quite a bit of money that our clients will have access to, and hopeful that we can help them to get the best deal and be able to move their design and construction projects forward.
Well, Stacy, this is a fascinating discussion. I can't wait to see what cities and towns, communities around the country are able to do, the visions that they're able to realize, and the public health improvements that they're able to execute with this funding. So thank you for being here with me, and thank you for helping all these communities to get their projects funded.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
For more conversations with brilliant, insightful folks like Stacy, please subscribe to our channel. And to learn more about what a municipality can do when its vision is backed by successful funding applications, head to Silicon Valley. But I'm not talking about big tech, I mean the city of Sunnyvale, California. Sunnyvale is executing an ambitious, transformative clean water program with the support of CDM Smith and a $221 million low-interest loan from EPA. To check out that story and learn how Sunnyvale is pulling all of that off, click the link below.